Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. The JAMODI podcast is powered by Sideline Interactive. Sideline Interactive is the leading manufacturer for high-quality, innovative scoring tables and LED video display boards that help coaches and schools bring more excitement to fans, create huge fundraising opportunities, and make their jobs easier. Visit sidelineinteractive.com to check out their amazing products. Big, not argument, but discussion out there is all coaches have a style of play that they love to teach. It's kind of their favorite, but maybe they're willing to teach others depending on their team. But then there's some that it will go it's players where I don't care what style we play, it just has to fit them. So are you more of style based, or is it all about the players that you have?
I would probably say I've been both ways, probably when I was an assistant coach, I had all the answers. When I was recruiting, you knew exactly what I was going to run, what I was going to do, had it all planned out. And I can probably tell you I do absolutely nothing of what I planned out when I was, 25 years old and had all the answers. I've played every possible way, from being in the gaps to being aggressive to pressing to being straight half court to being zone, to running pick and roll, to running triangle, to running 4-out ball screen. This year we're running 5-out. I'm a little bit of both. I definitely would say that I adjust to our players. I'm not going to be boxed into the system and then the players don't fit. I'm gonna try and figure out how to utilize, last year we had Effie Odaji. He transferred and he's going to SMU, but he's a wide body, slow post player. With a year before, we had our 5-man taking the ball out, and that's how we started our secondary. Well, midway through the season, I'm like, he's our best low post player. I got him playing way far away from the basket. When we get scored, and he's 265 pounds. He's got to get the ball, take 3 more steps to go out of bounds, then come down, and he's still not next to the basket. So we changed it, and we got him Effie. When we get scored on, just run down to the front of the rim and get ready to post.
He saved him like 30 feet right there.
Right. All of a sudden, he had more energy. He was more efficient, and we were a better basketball team. And so, I may not get it figured out for 5 or 10 games, but usually, we'll figure it out. But to answer your question, we're going to adjust. I've had to adjust all the time. When we had Kevin Hervey, we were changing up our defenses all the time. If we scored a layup, we were in our 2-2-1 back to matchup zone, and we were phenomenal at it. Then all of a sudden he goes down, and we can't have any success in our 2-2-1 press back to our zone, and all of a sudden we're struggling. And so I'm like, then I go back and I watch us beat Memphis, and he's 6'8" with the 7'3" wingspan. He gets a rebound, he can start the break. He's like super smart, knows how to get guys off the 3-point line and read without having to work extra hard. And I'm like, well, yeah, we just lost a dude that's really, really good. But then you look at our team, and we had all these tough dudes left, like Jorge Bilbao, Jalen Jones, Drew Charles, Eric Neal. And so we just, from that point forward, we went straight half court man. And, we lost 4 in a row from the time he went down. And then we ended up winning like 8 of our last 11 after losing an NBA guy. And so, I'm going to adjust. This year we are going 5-out. I love it. It's been fun to coach. It's opened up the floor for us. So we will try and recruit to that. But then again, if a guy like Effie, that's a low post guy that can score with his back to the basket, and maybe isn't a 5-out player, we'll adjust. You know, and so, but if we can get guys that can defend and pass, dribble, shoot the 3, and open things up and defend on the other end, I'd love to continue to play 5-out motion.
5 out traditional with middle third wings corners, or 5 out tilted where you're splitting the top corners and then maybe what we would call a stretch?
It's actually like we started just like Davidson does. So we'll have the 4-man at the top of the key, and our point guard will attack the elbow. And then once he reverses it, it becomes a stagger. And pretty much, 9 times out of 10, we're curling the first one. And then the point guard's coming back off. And then it's more 5 out freelance motion. So, setting back screens, down screens. Anybody can pass and go, ball screen and roll to the basket or slip it. So it's basically there's entries to get into that, but it'll be, 2 or 3 passes. And then we're, at that point, freelance. So, as long as your corner guys are setting flares, your guys cutting to the basket, they can post up, but then they need to be back screeners. If you do that and you get the guys to catch and see the basket, you have a chance of being successful. If they catch it and put it on the ground immediately, you're going to struggle. But, so far it's been really, really good. We'll see how it translates once the season gets here.
So I think the sweet spot is you have concepts that you really like, that you love to teach, and that you're confident in, because I think players can sense or smell if we're confident or not. And so we're confident in teaching them. But then you can mold those concepts to the player's strengths that you have from year to year. Where the danger is on either side of that spectrum too far, where your system, like you said early on, it doesn't fit our players. And I'm thinking of a few seasons at Faith where we lost because of me, my stubbornness, my pride. But then the other way, I feel like you can go too far, which is a team that really has no identity. No idea. They don't know what they hang their hat on, what they do well. And so it sounds like what you've done is the sweet spot of, we have our concepts and what we like to do, but man, we're going to make it work to win, because that's the ultimate goal, and to make you guys successful individually.
Yeah. I'll say this, my last year in Arlington, I probably tweaked something I shouldn't have tweaked. And looking back on it, that team still won. I don't remember I think it was 21 games, but I look back and I'm like, man, why did I change that? Because the year before we had won 27 games, and we kind of, I made it so it was a little bit more freelance, and guys were just thinking too much, and I look back at that and I'm like, man, I wish I would have just left it the way it was, because we were rolling. So yeah, you have to be careful. If something is working, don't tweak it too much. Just find the things that, just like you talked about, the analytical part of it. If it's we turn the ball over too much, figuring out, okay, what's the key to that? Or we're not turning teams over enough. Maybe what can we do to create a few more turnovers? But if you're shooting 52% from the field, then you probably shouldn't change a whole lot. You probably, have something pretty good going.
Yeah. Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.